Mayor Rankel, Council, City Administrator Michael Kiffin. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm completely ecstatic to fill this position, and I'm ready to serve Dayton, to execute my duties to the best of my abilities. So once again, thank you. That concludes all I have. If there's any questions.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
It's great to see we have a Dayton resident taking charge of our Main Street. We're going to expect a lot of things out of him. I'm sure he's going to be able to take care of it.
Take time off.
My name is Catherine Hamilton Hicks. For those of you who were not at the last council meeting, I'm representing the Dayton Riverfront Committee Group, which is comprised of myself, Ben Baker, Michael Giffen, and now Anthony. We have been pursuing the possibility of bringing a pier here to the city of Dayton. It's a pretty exciting, just the whole idea of it. We're doing our due diligence. We have visited recently with the city of Maysville. We saw their pier. We are very impressed. This is something that they continue to build upon. It's a huge draw. It's a great attraction for the city. They host numerous events, festivals, walks, bike shows. I mean, it's just, it's a draw. It's a draw on a weekend. It's a draw in the middle of the week on a Wednesday when the, Delta Queen pulls up and people embark on a riverboat cruise. So to have something like that here as an attraction, I think would be terrific for the city of Dayton. We had made contact with a company called KZF, and that's what I distributed to everybody. This is the same company that the city of Maysville used to design and help implement their pier. Also, the Smale Riverfront Park over in downtown Cincinnati used KZF design. They're still using them right now. They have an excellent reputation. Just today on Facebook, they posted that they were named number 210 of the top 300 design and architecture firms in the whole United States. So that's a huge recognition of this is top caliber people. When we met with them, first questions were, what's your budget? What do you have to work with? What's the first step into trying to make this pier a reality? And what John Wiley, who's our civil engineer, shared with us was that we need a master plan. A master plan is something that we present to the Army Corps of Engineers. It's something we pursue all kinds of different grants to help fund this pier. And in order to get a master plan together and in motion, basically to hire them is going to cost us $19,500. So I wanted them to quantify what a master plan includes. So this is a complete detailed list of what we can expect for that money. I was kind of ignorant when I asked the question. Well, I said, does that include pier design too? And they said, no, absolutely not. This is pretty much everything but. They allocate designs. If you just kind of go down the list for infrastructure, including utilities, parking, access, restrooms, security, lighting, working with the Army Corps of Engineers, meeting with the public to get input, helping us with any potential red flags that we're going to stumble across with environmental studies. They're making a huge commitment, basically, of their time and their energy and their resources to help us make this happen. Now, I don't want to be presumptuous in asking for this, but it may be a good resource of allocations from the sale of the marina to use a small portion of that $175,000 than to allocate $19,500 to start this project rolling. This isn't going to happen overnight, but this is the very first step we need to take in order to make this happen. I'm excited about it. I think these are great people. Michael, doing due diligence, has contacted another firm, just to see who else is out there, who else is being qualified to do this work as well. I expect those fees to be very similar. So if we can allocate that money for this project, I think we'd be in a great position. Just start the ball rolling, start making contacts with the Corps of Engineers, start holding community meetings to gather ideas and support and input. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I'm really excited, and I hope people are you guys are supportive of this, because this could change our front porch to the whole city.
Does anybody have any concerns, comments? Like it, don't like it? Do we invest in it, do we not?
Corps of Engineers is my only concern about what they expect, and, can we go to them first and say,
Well, Michael's already made contact with Corps of Engineers.
and they said what?
It kind of depends on several factors. Each site and each site location is going to differ on what the Corps would recommend. If there's any kind of erosion concerns, if there's any kind of environmental concerns. I know in Maysville they had to do a mussel study, and it just kind of depends on where the pier goes, whether some of those permits are required. Part of what KZF or another firm like Wolpert would do would kind of act as the middleman going to the Corps. We could get that information from the Corps, but it kind of depends really where it goes and the infrastructure that's going to be needed. I don't think we have a lot of, if any, erosion concerns on our riverbank, and the fact that we have a flood wall certainly helps the flood aspect of it. But there's still specific permits you need to pull.
Where are we looking?
We don't have any particular.
I mean, that's going to be one of the factors too, obviously, to start.
Outlined here in this little map.
Yeah, I
here.
just now got it, so I
Right.
have to.
They said that they're talking about all stages of design, including identifying locations and alternate locations. Not just like, no one on our committee has a hard set on a particular location.
Gotcha.
We're completely open-minded, like what is the best spot?
Catherine, my question to you is this, and it's going to piggyback off what Jerry said. If, I'm assuming we're going to put it on the riverbank, and if that's all privately owned now, and we've sold to Manhattan Harbor and all DCI, are they in agreement to let something to go on their private property too? Because they'll own all that now, I'm assuming, correct?
All of the lots go to the top of the hill, more or less, and then we
Okay.
start stepping down, that's all kind of still public property.
That's still public property then, okay.
Did I explain that? Is that correct, Jack? I think the riverbank,
I believe so.
That's to be done my only question.
and we would tie it into the
private
green
property.
space, we would tie it into the green space areas that they have also.
Okay,
And I know both DCI and the other new developer that's starting to come around, which we'll be introducing you to soon, they're both very excited about the possibility. So they see it as a plus to the development.
Yeah, I was thinking just that too. So since they benefit and we benefit, is there any bargaining power to ask for financial assistance?
I think we would have to just talk to everybody involved.
I had thought about that, but since it's fee, I mean, I don't want to be, since, to me, this seems like a nominal fee to get started, the $19,500. I thought, in order to retain also city control over this part of the project, the city would pay for that. My thought was to go after the developers for really big money. The hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually make this happen.
Could that be part of the
And
TIF
you know
program?
those people? I mean,
Well, I mean.
I don't see them yet.
The developers here, I mean, the DCI
I know,
tax
but-
developer, I
but-
mean, these,
Right.
one of the grants we're applying for is a matching grant, it's a $500,000 matching grant. So there's money out there to be had, but we just have to match it. One home on the river is $1 million. So it.
I'm on
and
your
if
side,
these
but
developers are already saying they're excited, like the mayor is saying they are, and it's gonna enhance their project.
oh yeah.
And it's gonna make our city look even better, I would think it would be in their best interest to help create something that really is exceptional.
I think that we should do that, if we're gonna do the money, control that, just like you said, that makes a lot of sense.
The thing of it is, we're only gonna get a quarter of that money for 20 years. First of all, tax money from that development before all that bonds is retired. That part, and then you got the development, you want the developers to fund part of this. But the developers still, in the next phase, got to put a city building in. So I don't know how much we can go to the developer. If we get more developers, maybe we can go after another developer. But this developer that we got now still has to build us a city building.
Right, no, I agree, and I think, like I said, Vernon, this isn't gonna happen overnight. I mean, this could be several years
plan, we have to have some conceptual drawing to show somebody to see if they are going to be in the river.
I understand that.
I think that the pier would be a great asset to the whole community.
And this shows that we're serious.
Yeah.
This shows that we've hired a professional firm to work for us and represent our interest in a very professional manner. So when we call the Corps of Engineers and we have drawings to submit to them, they're going to make time for us. They're going to think we're serious. This is not just, oh, we're flirting with the idea of a pier. It's not, we really like to make this
Yeah,
happen.
this first step is obviously just a necessary evil, because any grant that you go after is gonna wanna know each and every scope that KZF has outlined. So it already provides us, and takes away a lot of time that we would have to devote with creating that plan to go after grants. And it would be obviously much more professionally done, because it's not a firm that does this all the time. So it's a necessary evil, obviously, this first aspect of it, but it does help, as you go after funding the grants, and even if you went through private entities like the developers or any of the corporations around the greater Cincinnati area. You have this to give to them, and it's not something that comes from a committee, it's something that was done by a professional.
How many bids do we have to get? I mean,
believe
you're
it's-
gonna give it to someone, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna get the job if we do this.
That's
So-
correct, so we've gotten a bid from KZF, Woolpert is the
How
other
many?
group, that we're waiting on a bid from. I believe if it's 20,000 or above, or 20,000 or,
20,000 or above, well, in the construction phase, 20,000 or above, you have to get bids. But this is a professional service, and so bidding is not.
Okay.
But I think we probably ought to get Woolford for a
yeah,
price, you know.
we're waiting to
And
get
then-
from
Well, we need to know that, like she said, they're probably gonna be very similar if they work against each other, so.
And not only that, but South Bank has probably done quite a bit of studies along the river for the Riverwalk and involved with the Corps of Engineers. So we could probably get them involved and maybe
That would be a
some of
good
those
idea.
studies also.
Well, and
Okay,
then
good.
share their environmental studies with us.
Well, and additionally too, we're phases away, right? Maybe second or third phase from where they're starting the River Walk to possibly, not many monies are going to have to be spent in Dayton because all of our erosion studies and everything is done with the Army Corps, so possibly tossing 20 our way to help with the River Walk, taking that, money away from what they have to invest in it might be a favorable, maybe check.
Where's the river walk gonna be at? Actually, I looked down there,
It's gonna be from Ludlow.
no, I don't mean that, I'm talking about in the city of Dayton itself.
Oh,
Dayton controls that. Right now, as you can see where the riprap kind of goes down, I've met with South Bank, I've met with a gentleman from Woolpert and showed them the land, and they feel like the river walk could go at that base where the riprap is. It almost looks like could be a road there, you just have to lay the proper concrete down. But that's, where they see it could be feasible, but we kind of dictate where we want that to go. And at a South Bank meeting this morning, and those ideas from the cities are still coming about. I've met and just kind of told them the plans that we've had so far, how we kind of saw it hugging the river, but that we also have multiple trails on top of the flow wall and also down Manhattan Boulevard. So really, we control that. It's up to you.
Is Bellevue going to go along with this, or are we still holding on that?
Bellevue's got a couple of issues with their riverbank stabilization that we don't have. Ideally, it's riverfront commons, so you think it should go down along the river. They may do something temporary, but they've got a couple aspects in the city where they've got major erosion issues that they've got to work through before they can have any type of permanent sidewalk. But their long-term plan is to have it got along the river.
I truthfully and personally feel that it's going to be a major battle to tie Bellevue into Dayton on that riverfront walk.
Well, that's what I hear.
I think it's going to be a big, I personally think that the walk will go to the Bellevue Beach Park and then stop, and then maybe come up and go through some alleyway or someplace that won't be really appealing to us. I think we're going to have to dig our heels in and really fight to get that connected the way that it should be. That's just my opinion, but I feel strongly about that.
Well, if we had a really beautiful pier, they would have a huge incentive to make
That's
that
great, I know. We just have plus after plus after plus for this to be tied into. And this is something I think that we really need to be vocal about with South Bank, that if South Bank's gonna be committing all this dollars, that, we deserve to be connected into on the riverfront. We don't want to be connected to through an alleyway or the avenue. I mean, it's a river walk, it's not an avenue walk or anything like that. That's my personal opinion, but I feel very strongly about that.
I mean, is it premature to ask for a motion for these monies to hire KZF, or would you like time to think about it?
I think we ought to, just in all fairness, I think that we should go and see what type of a proposal Wolford would put forth, because they're a good company that does this type of work also. And then we should look at both proposals. I mean, I think we ought to get some type of a verbal commitment, whether everybody's in favor of doing this or not, based upon what the,
I mean, do you need a motion to say we're in agreement to do something like this? But the dollars are just flowing right now?
you're entitled to make any motion that you want to make or anything like that.
Does the rest of the council feel that?
I'd like to see a commitment. I'd like to see part of the money that we made from the sale of the marina go towards funding it. Which definitely would be giving something back to the community.
Well, we used to have a Tacoma Beach, and I would think that was a very positive thing. That was a long time, not knowing it myself, but I know that I've seen photos and I'm thinking that puts history back into our city. And the pier, are they allowed to have vendors on the pier?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so how can it be a negative if we can,
No, it's by no means negative. Do we need a finance committee meeting, Virgil?
I think so.
See how we
Yeah, I think so.
get
I
done?
think we need
I just
to-
think we need a commitment to say yea or nay. Do we want to do this or not?
I make a motion that we give support and commitment to supporting the project and talk about where we're getting the funding for the master plan.
I second that.
Motion made, second, any other comments?
Catherine, my only concern, once again, I want to reiterate this, is that I think the pier is a great idea. I'm just skeptical how you're going to have a pier on private property. I know Ken tells me that there's green space down there, and I understand that, but ladies and gentlemen, if I'm building a $1 million home, I don't know if I want a pier down there. That's
It's not private
personal
property,
opinion.
Bill.
Huh?
It's not private property.
I spoke to David
I'm
Bowen
talking about the
it.
riverbank, and that's where
Yeah,
I know, I'm planning and zoning, that's not private property, that's all public property from the point of what was one time going to be an SD access road. That's all public property moving forward.
I understand that, Ben. I understand that fully, but when you're gonna have $1 million homes down there, and you're gonna have the public have access to that, how the people are gonna be, are they gonna be yea or nay? And I'd like to get, and I'm not against this, I wanna get DCI's buy-in.
I
and
did
that's-
speak to Dave about it.
Okay.
And he said, he didn't see it as a negative.
Very good.
He did say that maybe if we positioned it closer to the marina,
That's, right.
that where there would be more parking, and that way we'd keep
Higher
kind of
density as well.
the
Well-
traffic kind of away from the private homes and more toward.
And I'm thinking, at least what I've been told, that on that close to the marina, there might be businesses down there. Maybe it might be a restaurant of some type or something. So that's a possibility. I'm
Yeah.
saying at this end instead of the other end.
Yeah, I think that's where he's leaning toward.
We'd be looking for input from everybody, from multiple developers that are coming in to play, which, like I said, this is going to take years. And there'll be new people hopefully jumping on board that want to participate too. So the whole idea of hiring a professional firm is it would facilitate community meetings, it would get input from the developers.
Something to look at, obviously.
Yeah,
that's it.
put it on paper,
Gotcha.
yeah. And make us look like, we kind of know what we're doing and hopefully get as much grant money as possible. Because there are multiple grants we can apply for. I mean, we've set sites on $1 million pier, but who knows what we can get? Maybe much more, maybe a little bit less, and we have to start somewhere. So thanks for your time.
There's been a motion made and seconded. If there's not any other comments, we need to vote on the motion.
Member Burns?
All right.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Bresky?
Aye.
Member Gunning?
Aye.
Member Gibbons?
Thank you, Catherine, for your input. Donnie, you have any correspondence?
No, sir.
Standing committee reports, Finance, Member Rusty.
I have nothing, I believe we'll be setting up a meeting, finance meeting, probably at 6 o'clock before the next council meeting.
Okay, let me know.
Public Safety, Member Bolton.
I just have one question. Where are we with the sidewalk grant on Dayton Pike for the safety grant we got?
We are at a point where 2 appraisals done. The whole thing is tied into a park conversion that we're doing from the riverfront to Dayton Pike. Part of that report that we have to send to the National Park Service involves having both properties appraised. We had that done. The second appraisal finished up, and we're ready to send everything in, and they say that you have to have the appraisals reviewed by a certified appraiser. So we hired a certified appraiser to look at both reports. That was done, started in January. We got back sometime early this spring, and they had issues with the first appraisal that was done on the riverfront property, that it wasn't done according to show the highest and best value. So we had to have that report amended. The person who did the original report was retired down in Florida when we called him to get the amendment done. So we had to have a new report done by a different person. She completed that report probably about 3 weeks ago to a month. And during the interim, they had a minor issue with the second appraisal that was done on the property on Dayton Pike. So we have to have that report amended. The reason it needs to be amended is because the comparable properties that they used to show the value of the property were for lots that were, I guess you would say, developable. The parcel on Dayton Pike is not suitable for heavy development because it was filled in and it was only compacted up to a certain percentage. I think the percentage was 95%. It needs to be compacted to, I think, 98 and above for any type of building. Now, we don't have plans to put any type of buildings on it, but for the sake of comparing it to other properties that are around, they needed to make the amendment that it wasn't as developable as the comparable lots. So again, we reached out to the gentleman that did the original report. Since it was an amendment, we were hoping that it wouldn't take up a lot of his time. He's since back for the summer and doesn't want to do it. So I made several calls today, actually, to the lady that had just completed the appraisal done on the riverfront, and she is backed up a couple months, so she said she could get to it, but it would probably be a couple months. She would recommend us reaching out to somebody else. So I started making some calls today to some local appraisers just to kind of see what it would cost. The guy that originally did the appraisal is willing to give his report and let the person amend it. But as you can imagine, some people are apprehensive of taking on somebody else's report and making it their own. So that's kind of where we're at. We have the money for the sidewalk. The option to buy the Ranshaw property is there, and it's in the budget. So technically, we could purchase the property and we could start the phase of putting the sidewalk in, especially on that property. But the other end of that spectrum is we're trying to convert a park to it, and there's still the possibility that it wouldn't be converted.
Can I
It would still be a park, but that would bring into an issue with the riverfront development.
The whole purpose of this is because we lost our park, our area. Could that pier be considered a park? Or instead of doing what we're doing, rethink the process, or is it too late?
Yeah.
Because I think that would be more, in my opinion, I don't see this thing being too much up here. That's what I feel.
It's going to be more of a passive park, obviously.
That's all
That's
it
a great point, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit. We're trying to find that
Okay.
out. I think,
Just a question.
but it could be a good avenue. I agree. So
And
it's
then
kind of
we could-
confusing, I'm
We could
sure.
do the sidewalk, though, we could split it.
We still have the money for the sidewalk for sure.
Because why I asked that is today, driving down the Pike, I saw this young junior high looking girl, looked like she'd been in practice at school or something, walking up the hill, and there was not even an area for her for safety's sake. When I pulled out, she had literally just stand in a gutter and start walking, you know, it was like, no, we've got to do something.
I think we ought to do sidewalks, but I really think that the park is
Yeah, I'll probably
a
give
dumb
you,
idea.
I'll probably give
I
you
mean,
more
that could
information
be
than you
down
wanted,
the road.
because we can do the sidewalk
Sorry,
now
I don't like it.
if you want to. It's not contingent on the park
Do
conversion.
you think we
So
should?
apologize for all that information, Thursday.
That's a lot, that's pretty much.
How far of the sidewalk can we do? Ain't there some homes we can't do in front of or not? We got it all half marked out.
We would have to have cooperation with some of the homeowners. Most of them, I don't know if all of them came to the public hearing. They're aware of what's going on. They've been notified that this is a project that we have, but we have to get their consent for some of it. So we're hoping that we can work something out. But towards the north end and the south end of the sidewalk, people would care about some of
I mean, it is just such a hazard. I just hated to see that girl walking there. Oh my God, you know, it's just dangerous.
Public Works, Member Gunning.
No report.
Parks and Real Estate, Member Burns.
I have a few things. The park board had a meeting last night, wanted me to pass this on. They had a movie night. It was a great success, and they want to tell the citizens and the kids that all showed up, thank you very much. And they also have another tentative date for the first weekend in October. They're doing some bids for the plumbing work in the bathrooms and the concession stand down there. Everybody knows they have a problem during the spring where they can't open the bathrooms up because of the bad weather. So if you would like to bid on that, they will have a meeting on Friday, August 15th. You'll be meeting Mr. Schwartz or Donna. He asked me to pass that on if anybody wants to contact you to let them know. Okay? They also wanted to let everybody know that the health department has inspected the concession stand. They came up with a 100% passing grade. The lights on the small field, which has always been a problem, will be looked at and fixed hopefully in the spring. And as Reverend Pike said, the Psalm Fest is September the 20th from 12 to 7. And their next meeting will be September the 15th at 7 o'clock. I'm not clear if it's going to be at the VFW or at the city building. It may be either place, so look for on the website for the next meeting. But it'll be September the 15th. Thank you.
Bill, I have a couple questions for you, maybe you can pass them on.
Okay.
As Virgil and I have talked, we had some issues with the field and everything. If we want the girls softball districts, we have to move the fences, the backstop back. Is there any consideration for taking some of their money and doing that? Because that's a real positive thing. Am I correct or not, Virgil?
Oh, yeah. They said
It
that.
has to be done, or we're not going to get them.
And I'm in
I
agreement
can't
with you.
imagine how much money that's going to cost.
And I'm in agreement with you, but that is not my call, Jerry.
No, I'm asking you to-
I'll present it to Park Board.
That's all I'm
In
asking.
fact, I mentioned this Park Board that they would have to move the backstop out about probably 10 to 15 feet.
I don't know the exact.
And then you'd have to reconfigure the whole infield, and the fence wouldn't have to be taken out at all. It's just the moving out. I suggested they put a small concession stand there for the
Well,
tournament.
and dugouts, I mean, just if they're temporary, got to do something. It's really a nice field. Both fields are nice, and we're not utilizing.
I'm in agreement with you. I presented that to them, and I will present it again, but
Okay.
that is a Park Board call, and it's not my call.
I understand that.
But I will approach them again.
What is the concept?
I'm sorry.
What are you proposing? For me, what, the girls' tournament,
It's not a legal field. We have to move it to make it a legal field. Did we ever know that? Probably not, but we found it out, and I'm thinking it's a positive for our city to have the district tournaments.
This is for like girls softball?
Every year, it goes from one city to another
Everybody
city.
but us.
And Dayton, its time is now. It's just like they have down in, they have the Class A tournament down in, for basketball. Well, Dayton has the opportunity to have the softball tournament, fast pitch softball tournament for girls down at Dayton next year. And if they don't have it there, then I've been told that they'll have to put up the money, and they'll probably have to have it out of Northern.
Yeah.
So,
And the second part to my question to you, to the park board, is I brought up to Michael, we have trouble keeping the concession stand open because it's usually a volunteer thing. I propose that we talk to Justine at the YMCA and see if we can incorporate them in it somehow so that they can make some money and we can have a concession all the time, and then the people on the committees won't have to service it. I would like it.
that's a great
Why
suggestion
don't we just
too.
lease it out like we used to do?
That's what I don't know why we don't. I don't understand.
Maybe
Think about it.
Justine
Do
would like
something
to.
different to make sure, because the Ashfords put a lot of years in there, and those people work that concession stand. When you're on a committee like a park board like that, you shouldn't have to go down there and spend 8 and 10 hours, you know?
Or
So,
the youth football league has done it in the past, that's what kept it running.
that's exactly right. But what if we were more consistent and then they could concentrate on, unless they're making a lot of money, I don't know that that's happening.
My
I'm just
suggestion is,
asking the
Justine,
question.
you approach the, if you could approach the park board, if you want to make that, if you want to do that. Once again, these are all great suggestions.
That's all it is.
It's, and I'll take it back to them, but it's the park board's decision, but if Justine, you would like to go to the next meeting, it's September the 15th.
Something to think about.
That's correct, Jack, the park board runs the park, so we got park tax, and all the decisions have to come through the park board.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Personnel law attorney, Member Gifford.
I'm working currently on the ordinance for the handicapped, and I have some things I have to pass on to Jack.
That has to do with
The people who have lived in the city in the same house for 15 years and can't get a handicap park.
Okay. At this time, does anyone on council have any petitions they'd like to address?
I have one. I received an email from Buddy Dittus, class of '65, and several years ago they used the grassy area by the railroad tracks for like to get together with their class before the football game. They're asking to use that again, and they're asking if the city can supply some garbage cans there for that function. It's August the 28th.
We'll be more than happy to give them the garbage cans, but I don't think we own the property.
No, we don't.
So,
It's
but we can definitely give them garbage